I'm Sparky from M2D Camo. If you're not familiar with our product, M2D Camo is designed to appear to change colors based on any hunting environment. We only have the pattern you see before you, and what I'd like to do is show you how M2D Camo will appear to change colors no matter where you hunt. M2D Camo truly is an innovative product. If you'll notice this first picture, we have a gentleman standing here in the stubble holding up his trophy. Look how well the M2D Camo blends all the way to his upper body, even though he's standing in 3 inches of stubble. What I like about these two photos is you can clearly see that when the sun was out, the natural grass was bright yellow, just like the M2D Camo. But when the sun went behind the clouds, you can clearly see that not only did the grass change colors, but so did the hunter in M2D Camo. If you'll notice this picture taken in Florida, you'll see that where the shadows hit the foliage, everything is dark green. But where the sunlight bleaches through, it's bright yellow. Now notice the hunter sitting there in M2D Camo. If you'll notice where the shadows hit him, they're green, but where the sunlight hits him, it's yellow. M2D Camo clearly appears to change colors. In these photos, we say dare to compare. Notice how our hunter in M2D Camo completely disappeared compared to the #1 pattern on the market. Doesn't take a genius to figure out which pattern I'd rather wear. Now look at a grown man against a 12-year-old boy in a rice field, and once again, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that M2D Camo is far superior for that type of environment. Here's some other photos of M2D Camo compared to others. Notice how the M2D Camo disappears to its natural backgrounds while all of the others have some type of definitive line. If you look at these two photos, you'll notice the hunter sitting in the sunny side of the hay bale, and notice how much the M2D Camo changes when he goes to the shaded side of the hay bales. Here's a perfect example of how M2D Camo appears to adapt to its environment. If you'll notice these two pictures of corn, they completely look different. Corn doesn't look different and doesn't change colors. However, the sunlight will make the corn appear to change colors. Well, if you'll notice the hunters in M2D Camo, they completely match their surroundings because the sunlight and the environment makes M2D Camo appear to change colors. Notice how amazing it is out in a Texas rice field. Look at the hunter standing in the aspens. You can hardly see that there's a guy there, and he's not behind the aspens, he's standing between them. If you'll notice this hunter standing in the pine forest, you can see how gray he appears because the environment around him is dark and the natural wood around him is gray. The M2D Camo picks up a lot of the gray colorings. Look at this hunter sitting out in an open rock bed. The only thing that stands out are his dark wet shoes and the fact that he got his M2D Camo wet. If you'll notice this trail camera picture taken of me leaving one of my stands, you'll notice that the M2D Camo pants completely disappear into my natural environment. Notice how well it looks in the Dakota grass, the Oregon sagebrush, the tules, the Alaska forest. If you'll notice this hunter in the Wisconsin corn, look at how well he adapts to his environment. The only thing you can see is his face, and you'll notice that he has no outline. Now you go over here to the hunter in New Mexico and look how much darker he appears to be and how much more green stands out because of his natural environment. Look at this gentleman hunting sandhill cranes in the middle of a yellow field. You can't even tell he's sitting amongst the cranes. Look at this gentleman in the spring turkey in Pennsylvania. Notice how he sits against that tree, wide open area, but yet he completely looks green, even though he's wearing M2D Camo. Look at how well M2D Camo disappears out into the sage country. Everybody agrees that M2D Camo is a fantastic waterfowl pattern and an excellent pattern for ground concealment. But what most people don't know is that M2D Camo is very effective up in a tree. If you'll notice these 4 photos taken of M2D Camo up in a tree, if you look at these first 2, look at how well the M2D Camo completely disappears into its environment. That's right, folks. It may be a grass pattern, but it completely adapts to sitting up in a tree. If you'll notice this photo, the leaves are starting to turn red because the sun's going down. Now notice how the hunter wearing M2D Camo is also starting to turn red because he's picking up the colors from the natural leaves around him. Notice how green this hunter is in the Kansas forest. The green foliage makes the hunter appear to be green. Yes, M2D Camo might work on the ground, but it also works really well in a tree. Yes, there's actually a gentleman laying in that wheat stubble. Notice how well M2D Camo blends in the Texas environment. The only thing that stands out in this picture are somebody else's camo on his gloves. I love this photo of a hunter sent to us in Minnesota. Here's a gentleman standing at 3 yards with his bow in his hand, and you cannot tell there's a person standing there because the camouflage completely blends into its background. If you'll notice these 3 blinds, the M2D camo is far superior to the other 2. But what you didn't see, I bet, is this other blind sitting right down here. That's right, M2D camo truly is made to deceive. Notice how green the M2D camo appears during the spring. All the greens pop out in the pattern. The only 3 things that stand out in this picture are somebody else's camouflage gloves, gun, and boots. Notice how black blob they appear to be, where M2D camo stays true to its form but changes colors. This is an amazing photo. What I love about it is, even though the guy is completely in M2D camo, you have a really hard time seeing him when he's standing out dragging a deer. What kind of camouflage makes you disappear when you're just walking out dragging a deer? M2D camo does. Take a look at this picture. Thank you for taking a look at M2D camo. If you have more questions, you can go to our website at m2dcamo.com, and you can also email me directly. Hopefully in the future we won't see you in the woods because you chose M2D camo. Truly made to deceive.